Hi, welcome to Grow New Plants. So today I'm going to propagate some more liriope, and I'm going to do this by division. I've done this liriope before. It's Super Blue Liriope is the variety. It gets pretty big and it grows the big purple flowers on it, or a lot of purple flowers on it. It's really pretty. So I've done this before, and I ended up had that really bad winter. I ended up losing a bunch of them. So I'm going to start over, but my goal, today's the 20th of May. So my goal is to see out of these two plants, and these are not super full, they're going to divide up into quite a few plants, but not a tremendous amount. But my goal is to see how many plants I can turn these two into by the end of the summer. By the time winter gets here, how many will I have? And I'm going to do two different things. I'm going to put some with my propagation mix in these Rootmaker cell containers, and then I'm going to put two of them straight into the transplant mix in my 1 gallon Rootmakers, and just to see if eventually they'll grow out in here, root out in here, and I'll move them into the 1 gallons. So I'm going to see in the end which one ends up doing better. If they do better, moving them from small to big, or just going straight to big. So in a couple months when these are ready to transplant, I'll see what they look like compared to the ones I put straight in the pot. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is pull these things out of the pots, see what kind of roots they have. They're decent. They'll be fine for this. So what I want to do first is I want to break these things up and basically want to loosen the root ball as much as I can, get as much of the old soil as I can off. I'm going to pretty much strip these things of all their soil, which doesn't really hurt anything. It's just what you have to do to divide them up. If you watched my hosta video, I did basically the same thing. I just shook all the soil loose. I'll do this other one real quick. Okay, so now we got our two things of plants here. So if you look through here, you can see that's like an individual, that's an individual, that's an individual. You start looking all the way through here. So I'm going to start out with the one on as close as I can to the outside, and just kind of take my fingers and pull that thing down to get as many roots as I can. That's decent right there. So again, I'll take this one. I'm going to try something too. I'm going to try and make a little cut with my knife here. Not too deep, but just a little bit ways. And that did not work good at all. I ended up cutting it off. So that's a waste right there. So probably what I really need to do is just keep doing like I'm doing and just try and break them apart. And some of these I'm just not going to get roots on. Some I'm going to. That one I got a bunch of roots on it. It's probably the roots of that other one I just cut off. So that'll make a really good one there. I'll try and split these in half. See if that makes it a little easier to separate them. Just keep splitting them in half and see what I end up with. Okay, there's another small one, but it's got a decent amount of roots, so that should make. That one's got a really nice set of roots there. That's a big one there. That worked pretty good, splitting them in half. That made a good set of roots. That made a good set of roots. That one had no roots, so we're not going to get anything out of that one. So far that one plant, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of that one plant. So I'm going to try that, what I did before, and just kind of break them apart. That's kind of gumming apart naturally there, so I'll go ahead and take that off. Hopefully that'll divide into two. Yep, so that's got a ton of roots, that's got a ton of roots. Some of those are going to come off, but that's 2 there. So this thing's just naturally kind of wanting to open up right there in the middle, so we're going to separate these apart. No exact science to it. So I think I'm going to end up with some, I don't know if I could get, well, I got that one, little root there, but we'll try it. We'll see what happens. And then this one here, I think if I try and, you know what, I'm going to break it off anyway, because I could put all that together, but I'm gonna just see if, no, I didn't get a root off that one, so that's okay. But we still got this one. That's a really nice one there. And that's a, go ahead and split these in half. I'm just trying to pull them as gently as I can to separate them where I get roots on both halves. Okay, that naturally just separated that one out. That's a good one. That one will work. And that one's got a really nice set of roots. And this one here, it really looks like it's just one big one. So we'll just go with that one. So we got, let's get rid of all this that we don't need anymore. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we got 6 on the other one. So we got 14 total. So I've got, I'm gonna put 2 of them in pots. So I'll have 12 in here. So we'll only use 3 of these cells. So we're gonna have 14 total plants. So I almost hate doing the big ones. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try and find 2 medium ones. That's what I consider probably a medium size one. Just trying to be fair on my comparison here. That's probably what I consider a medium one too. So we'll take these 2 and we'll put these into our pots. So what I want to do, I got my soil down in here, and then those roots are fine like that. I'm not going to trim those back. So you want to give it some space down there for the roots to be loose inside there. And then you just kind of come in, hold it about where you think it's going to be in the end, and then just backfill around, and that leaves those roots kind of spread out as opposed to just jamming the roots down in there. And then once you get it stabilized, just kind of pack that dirt in there. It doesn't have to be super tight, but just enough to, you want the plant to be stabilized where it's going to grow straight up and down. So that's good like that. So we'll take a little bit of this soil out. I think that was the other one. So I'm going to take, those roots are so big, I'm going to prune them just a little, about like that. We'll stick it down in there in that pot, hold it about where we want it height-wise, and then start backfilling the dirt around it. So I wanted to get a comparison, so we'll see. Some of these were bigger and would probably be better candidates to go straight into a big pot, but I want to kind of do that comparison to see whether maybe one of these great big ones that was super nice, that had a ton of roots. That's not a big one, but it's got a lot of roots. There was one in here that was really, like, that's a really nice one right there. Ton of roots. That one would probably do better in a bigger pot, but I want to see if maybe this one will outgrow this one because it's in the bigger pot. It's just part of my little experiment here. So, all right, so these here, we're going to go into these smaller pots. So let's move our pots over here. And so I got just my regular propagation soil for these. So we're going to put a little bit of this propagation soil in the bottom of each one. And then we'll do this so you can see. So obviously that's a lot of roots going down in that. So I'm going to cut this. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to start over. I'm going to go, because those roots are going to go all the way to the bottom, which is fine. And the thing of these pots, these root pruning pots, is these roots grow out of these little holes in here. The air hits them and it kills the tip of that root, and it'll make that root branch. So what it should do, it should cause these roots to come in here and completely fill up this ball of soil that's inside here, which will make it perfect for a new transplant. So we're just going to sit it down in there like that. And then just start dropping the soil in around it. And again, pack it in enough to where they're relatively stable there. That ought to be good there. We'll take our next one. I'll do this one cell of 4 and then I'll fast forward through the others. So that's got a really nice root system there. We'll put that in there. Kind of push all those roots where they're down in there good. And these things should just take off and do great. They got lots of roots. There's a couple that only got like some not very branched out big roots. Like That one right there does not have a lot of roots, but I think it'll still do okay. We're going to see what happens with it. So we'll put this in here. And I'm thinking about doing another experiment too. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to. It's not going to hurt anything. So we'll get all these up. If you stay till the end, you'll see my last experiment that I want to do with these things. Just because I've been curious about it. When I did these last time, I was very curious about it, whether it was a good idea to do or to not do. So I'm going to do it this time, but you got to wait till the end of the video to see. Get one more here, and then I'll fast forward through getting the rest of these potted up. And then we'll try our little experiment here at the end. Now I will, after I water these in, I'll say this real quick. Once I water these in, if the soil sinks down too low, I may come back and add just a little bit of soil just to make sure they're all good and stable inside those pots. So, all right, we'll fast forward and get the rest of these done. Okay, so I got them all planted. So I got my 12 in here, 2 in the pots. I don't know if you could see in the fast forward part. In the end, I ended up actually had 13 left after these 2. And I took 2 of the smaller ones and just put them together in the same pot. So we'll see what happens with that. So typically when you cut plants back, it makes them want to branch. So I don't know if cutting these things back will make them want to stimulate branching and growing underneath, kind of taking some of the stress off of the top. So I'm just going to take a random one, which is this one here in the middle, and I'm going to cut them back just like you do in the spring, or like in the winter with these things. You want to cut them back every year. Okay, if you're growing them in your yard, you take them, you cut them back like this, and it cuts off all the old growth that was there from the previous year, and then it'll put off all new growth, and it'll come back and you won't have any of the nasty dead looking stuff left over inside your liriope. You do the same thing with variegated liriope, big blue liriope, any of these things. Almost all of your ornamental grasses you want to cut back like that in spring, or in the fall, I'm sorry. In the winter sometime after they quit growing, just before spring gets here, before they put out new growth. And then they'll come back nice and thick and full, and they'll look pretty. So I'm going to try one like this and just see what happens. It's just an experiment, so they may do better, they may do just the same, they may just look uglier because all the leaves are gone off of them, but we'll just see what happens. So I'm going to take these things and I'm going to water them in. I'm going to go ahead and post this video, and then I'm guessing from my past experience with these things, maybe in a couple months, these things will be ready to move back up to the next size pots, and we'll see what the difference did between these, and the difference between these and these ones in the pots over here. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. Please like, subscribe, and then hit that bell notification. That way when the new video comes out, you'll get notified. I appreciate you watching. Thank you. Bye.